like to call the North Branford Board of Education meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Yes, roll call, Mary, sorry.
Chairman Holzer?
Here.
Vice Chair Nafrio?
Here.
Secretary Sienna?
Here.
Judy Bannon?
Here.
Zachary Canada?
Here.
Kim Johnson?
Here.
Victoria Lund?
She's going to be late. There's a function at your house.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's some dance or something next week. Should be here.
Visitors?
Rose Angeloni, Glenwood Road. I am here tonight to speak in regards to the item on your agenda for the FRC grant. And I am here to advocate for TVES. The last time a playground was done at that school, most of you were either not in the district or not on the Board of Education. It was approximately 20 years ago. And the process that they had to go through to get that playground was the PTO and the principal of the school, it was under the direction of the principal, did fundraising for 4 years. So the kids that were in that school at the beginning never got to see that playground. It was actually the Jerome Harrison kids that got to see, and Stanley T at that time, because it took so long to raise money for it. And the principal really spent a lot of time, because it was not just parents raising the money, there were business donations and everything else. North Branford is very fortunate that they received a $500,000 grant from the state of Connecticut for the FRC program. We have 3 schools in the district that have FRC in them: Jerome Harrison, Stanley T. Williams, and Totucket Valley. I think it would be very important to allocate some of that money. 15 to 20% would be $75,000 to $100,000 towards a playground. It may not fully fund the playground, but it will have a great start to it. I can tell you that the new playground at North Farms Park that was put in by the town last year cost $150,000, and that was complete, installed. I think it's very unfair to ask parents to fundraise for a capital expenditure account this large. We have the opportunity to allocate some of that money to go towards the playground and to start the process so that the children can enjoy it. That school, I know this summer camp is not there, but otherwise that school has a lot of children go through it, and it would definitely get used. And I know I have talked to the principal, Mr. Amodio. He had asked me some questions as far as, because I was there during the last process, and I gave him a company name, and it's Creative Recreation, who the town uses. They are on state contract bid, and they did one of the playgrounds at Totucket Valley already. And so that is a great resource. So I ask you to look at this and consider allocating some money from that grant towards Totucket Valley. Thank you.
Any other visitors? No. Okay. Student representatives?
Good evening.
Hi, guys.
Good evening. To start off tonight, juniors completed the Connecticut School Day SAT on March 20th, and students have completed embedded tasks during their English and mathematics classes throughout the school year. Juniors have also been provided with a series of flex time activities to prepare for the test format and the successful completion of questions within the assessment. Also, the first ever Women's Leadership Conference at MBHS is being held on March 26th. This is the new date because it was previously scheduled on a snow day. And Assistant Principal Lee is leading a planning committee involving staff and students. The event will include keynote speakers, workshops, and students from neighboring districts joining our MBHS participants.
And then girls basketball qualified for the CIC state tournament, defeating Windsor Locks during the first round of play and took a tough loss on the road at Thomaston during the second round of the state tournament. During the Shoreline Tournament, Kiana Criscolo broke the NBHS girls basketball scoring record, 1,398, held by NBHS head coach Sabrina Lemire. Kiana was named first team All-Shoreline with teammates Nicole Tamario and Callie Holzer named second team All-Shoreline. Natalia Lucibello was named honorable mention All-Shoreline. And then UConn notified English teacher Christopher Drexler that his application to become a UConn ECE teacher at NBHS was approved. Mr. Drexler will teach an approved course at NBHS, Contemporary Issues in Sport, which aligns with the coursework at UConn.
Oh, it's great.
All right. Is that it?
That's about it, yeah.
Okay, well, that was short and sweet.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
So much.
Have a great night.
You too.
Must be spring.
I don't know, does it look like spring? It doesn't feel like spring?
That senior
Senioritis?
itch. Let's get in and get out.
Todd actually and I
Thank you,
had a
guys.
discussion about senior year and how North Branford does a really good job with preparing kids. They have just that right amount of get me the heck out of here and just that right amount of, oh, I'm gonna be sad to go, that kind of push-pull. So,
Right in the middle.
right in the middle, we like it. That's where we want them to be.
Yep.
All right, you want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda of the March 21st, 2024 Board of Education meeting as submitted. Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to wish Mr. Yurkis the best
Yes,
of
I
luck
was
in his
gonna
future endeavors. He's
Going to speak to that.
on the resignation there.
Yes. Did you vote already?
We did not vote.
I'll let
No,
you
we're
know.
discussing,
Okay.
discussing.
That's my cue. So we'd like to publicly thank Mr. Yurkis for 23 years of service. He has relocated to another state, is going to be teaching there. We wish him and his family nothing but the best and thank him for his dedication.
All right, are we ready to make a roll call vote? Yeah.
Chairman Holter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Nafria,
Yes.
Secretary Sienna,
Yes.
Judy Bannon,
Yes.
Zachary Canada,
Yes.
Kim Johnson.
Yes.
All right, Scott, your turn.
Fantastic. Under recognition, at this time, I'd like to formally introduce Mr. Thomas Lonsdale, who has been with us now since March 1st as our new Director of Technology in North Branford. He is in the front row tonight.
The one we don't recognize?
The one that- yeah. He's FBI, be careful.
Right, I'm like, what did you say?
That's right. So Mr. Lonsdale started his career in education as a middle school science teacher in the East Hartford Public Schools. While teaching, he served as both an instructional tech and grade level team leader for the district. After completing his certification in leadership, he was appointed instructional tech and student data manager for the Groton Public Schools. Most recently, Mr. Lonsdale served as the director of Ed Tech Services for Goodwin University and Magnet School for not only the high school, middle school programs, but for the college as well. He is committed to promoting the application of technology to address the diverse needs of students and maximize student learning, helping educators and administrators to leverage data to make informed decisions, and leading cross-functional teams to improve processes and increase workplace efficiency. He's a graduate of Salve Regina with a bachelor's, a master's from both Providence College and Eastern Connecticut State University, and his 092 from Southern Connecticut State University. And he lives with his family, wife, and children in Madison, Connecticut. So we welcome
It's a
Mr.
nice resume.
Lonsdale.
Welcome.
We usually have put you on the spot to do the Walk of Fame. So if you could just come up and say hello and introduce yourself to the board. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to speak or
Or you
do
can,
anything unless yeah, it's probably just safer that way. Because if you break it, you have to fix it. So. With
I
your-
know, this is like a, I can't believe it's like such a hazard.
Well, you would think it would be wireless.
You can't get wireless,
I don't know.
can you? Hi, how are you? Shauna Holzer.
Nice to meet you. Welcome, Marcino Friel.
So Mr. Lonsdale has already been in every building, met with every administrator in our special services here at central office, and already has started to implement some new ideas that are going to make us more efficient, and has had we've been fortunate to have Bruce come in during this transition on a couple of occasions just to walk him through and show him the new building, what's going on in the new building, getting him up to speed. So we're off to a great start, and we look forward to many years of great service, Mr. Lonsdale. So thank you. Okay, communications board briefs are attached. If there are any questions, the administrative team is here. In hearing or seeing no hands go up, we'll continue on. The finance report, I apologize, I sent that to you today. It was sent to me a few days ago, several days ago, and to Anna. The assumption was that it was also sent to you, but it was not sent to you. So you're just getting it. It's a paper copy, take it with you. If there's any questions that you have, please send them to us and she'll get back to you as quickly as possible with any that you have.
Can we go back to the board briefs for 1 second?
Sure.
Stop the Bleed, was that at every school? Was that for townspeople? Was that for
Now,
employees?
where are you reading?
Well, I know Jerome Harrison has it on theirs, and I
Oh, for the minutes.
saw pictures
Yeah,
of it.
Or for the briefs. Yeah, no, they just did it, all school, they did the AEDs to stop the bleed and CPR.
Yep.
And it was a 2-hour overview and quick process. Anthony Esposito and a few members of the fire company came in. We are scheduled as an administrative team with the nurses to do it separately. It will be just stop the bleed. So those kits will accompany the AEDs and also the Narcan as well.
I did it, it was wonderful. I did it.
Yes. So we're continuing on with it. It probably will move into each building in the near future when they develop their PD. But we started Jerome first, they're complete, and then the administrative team, nurses, security guards are gonna do a more in-depth stop the bleed.
Yeah, it was very informative.
Okay, anything else on briefs?
Not for that day. I had it done when I did my CPR recertification. A woman from the ambulance, Laura Burek, came and did it. And she said, "You want to do stop the bleed?" And we were like, "Yeah." Right.
Good. Any other questions on the board briefs? Okay, not hearing any, we'll move on. TBS gymnasium floor. I'm gonna ask Mr. Florio to please come forward.
John, I'm sorry, we keep making you come to these meetings.
He has nothing else to do on a Thursday night. He's like, come on, can I come? So I said, sure, John, if you have nothing else to do. Come on.
I'm sorry.
So John is just gonna go through where we're at with Tuckett's floor. As we mentioned, I don't know, I think at the last meeting, that the water permeated and went up through the bottom of the floor. It's not a traditional leak where it came from a rooftop unit or faulty windows. So since that last conversation where we explained that to you, we have had the insurance adjuster come out and 2 different companies give bids. So John is just gonna walk you through what's happening, what we're looking at. We do have a confirmation that the pipes have been purchased by the town, and over the April break, they're gonna start the digging and placement of those water release drains or whatever, and get that process. So John, if you want to update, and if there's any questions, you can ask John.
So the first thing we did, we had to investigate what happened to the floor. So we had to cut a section of the floor out, and we had to do a little infrared inspections on the moisture, how far it traveled, where it went, and where it came in. So it's determined that the water came from the outside of the building due to the location of the downspouts and leaders of the new metal roof and what's called a bird's mouth, which is an overflow drain from the flat roof that shoots out the side of the building. The one bird's mouth drain probably caused 90% of the water because it was coming off the side of the building and actually hitting on the door threshold, and that seems to be 90% of the water infiltration. The rest was where the gutter leader drains come down. I surveyed this with the Public Works Director, the Assistant Public Works Director, and the Insurance Adjuster Inspector. So the Insurance Adjuster has to write up his report. I also had to give them a detailed report of when it was reported, why we found it, what we did, what we thought was wrong, how we're gonna remediate the water problem. They also wanted some information from the town hall as far as when the roof was done, who was the contractor, a whole bunch of stuff. They all had to go to the insurance company. Insurance company told us do not do any work on the floor until we hear from them, but we could do the drainage work to mitigate the problem. So we're gonna tie those drains into an underground piping system. We're gonna change the bird mouths so it doesn't come out the building anymore. It's gonna be direct piped, and we're gonna pipe that out to the drainage stream. And we're gonna investigate the foundation while we have it open. We're gonna be digging along the foundation. We're gonna check for any cracking or any water permeation through that. I contacted 4 flooring companies. 2 companies came out already and inspected, and they will work along with the insurance company as far as the insurance company thinks that whether it's gonna be a repair, replacement, they'll take the guidance of the insurance company and their recommendation. They wanted to see what type of floor it was. That's why we did the inspection holes also. The other 2 companies, one company is coming tomorrow. The 4th company is coming next Tuesday. Target Sports, which is a nationwide athletic company that does gyms, athletic fields, everything. Their company that they recommended and sent down is actually the company that's installing the gym floor in the new high school.
Oh, okay.
So.
Can we get some turf while we're at it?
Yeah, so they're like.
Say turf?
Yeah, so.
Woke him up.
So right now, the 2 companies that came out, I'm awaiting their final quote.
Okay.
The 2 companies that are coming, they'll give me their quote, and the insurance company will give us their update once everything's in order.
So long and short, you root caused it, you're fixing the water part.
Exactly.
We can't do anything because insurance is gonna pay for it? Or-
Insurance company, if the insurance company says that they are gonna, this is an insurance claim and they're gonna do it, you don't do anything until they tell you yes or no.
Okay,
So we're still not sure, we're just waiting to hear.
We're waiting to hear from the insurance company.
so now
They send a private adjuster out.
Yep.
And the adjuster makes his report.
So my question is, we have this much time
Yes.
to get it onto capital budget if we need it. What is Plan B if insurance doesn't cover it and we've missed budget season, for lack of a better word?
I guess that would be something we'll have to address with the
Oh,
town.
you got it.
Because essentially, according to the adjuster and our investigation, we never had water in that gym
Right,
when the drains were interior off the flat roof. Now we put the steel roof on and we drained the water to the ground, so it came up underneath the gym. This year, people got water that never, ever
Right.
got water in their life. The water table's high, we've had phenomenal rainstorms. We never had anything under that gym floor,
yeah.
and this year we did.
All right, so,
I think we can better answer it once we get the estimates from the 2
Once-
companies to
yeah.
know if it's a partial fix or if it's the entire floor. So if
Exactly.
it's something that's just partial for what's rippled, it may not be astronomical.
Right.
well, it's just, either way, someone's gotta pay for it, whether it's insurance or it's,
Yes.
so.
Us, right.
Can we just write this up, and send it out to, the town manager? And make sure that town council gets it so they know
Yep.
that we're not inactive? I mean, I know Rose is sitting there, but it's not fair to her to have to communicate everything back. That's our job as well. So let's just write it up. You have all good detail. I'd like to make sure that they have it so we don't get
We can,
what actions were you taking? And I would
we
put
can
dates
definitely
on
present
it,
what
John.
has been done up to this point, get it to the town manager and the council, without a doubt.
And do it with like the second grade, who, what, when, where, how. I do that still at 52 because inevitably someone's like, who did it? When did they do it? Like, so just kind of write it up that way
Yeah.
so that it's all there in one. You could even put it in a spreadsheet or a grid,
Yeah,
easy
listen,
peasy.
nobody figured, I mean,
Right.
The metal roof is the way to go. We don't want flat roofs anymore,
That's
right?
right.
So diverting water, you don't expect that anything to happen. You
We
know,
don't have
it-
great luck with roofs in North Branford.
Exactly. So, it's just an unexpected,
Okay.
issue.
Any other buildings have that type of spout system
Well,
on the district?
we do have, anywhere we have a metal roof, but we don't, the new high school has downspouts and gutters.
Well, I mean, like a similar style, I guess. Is what the-
Yeah, anytime you have a metal roof, the water has to come off the metal roof, has to end up on the ground somewhere. See, the flat roofs, they have their drains interior, you go down through a piping system in the wall and out, and you don't have that issue.
And they brought in their own adjuster, is that what I heard?
What's
The
that?
Insurance companies bring their own adjuster?
The insurance company sends out a private adjuster.
In the event that they come with a number below repair value, right?
Yep, the insurance adjuster looked at it, and the two flooring companies that looked at it both said the floor can be repaired. The damage is mainly to one side, one half court. Okay, so both companies that came out said it is repairable. The insurance adjuster said it's repairable. He said, but I only give what I see to the insurance company. Insurance companies look at it and they say, how old's the building? How old's the floor? How many times did you have it refinished? Is it worth giving you a new floor, or is it worth repairing this one? That's all in the hands of the insurance company.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
John, stay seated.
Why?
We got it.
Capital.
Oh. Okay.
That's next. Okay, so there's no other questions on the
No.
TBS? We're all good? Okay. Capital
Yeah, John, will you
project,
be able to get that to town council by mid next week?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
capital project request, updates. So we're really,
Do we have any updates? I mean,
No.
we
I
just
mean-
sent it down, we don't have any new news,
well,
right?
what we do have, and I'll pass this around to you. So everyone has one, just on existing capital projects that we submitted. There's a packet there. And then there's the requests that we submitted from last year, 23-24. What they were, their letters, obviously that Shauna, you're charged with sending. And then this current year for our requests, which you do know. So I had a conversation with Mike Downs the other day, and we went through different scenarios based upon what he's seeing through the entire budget process. And in conversation, we spoke about some creative ways to do some of these projects, starting with, the capital project of Jerome, the gymnasium, the condensing and evaporating systems there. John and I met and had a conversation with Mr. Downs together. And with the sensitivity to that going down and not having air conditioning in large areas of that building for students with, medical issues, that was a high priority for us, that project over the auditorium. That was one that we obviously felt was more important because of students being in those areas each and every day. We talked about the storage building behind the football field for storage of golf carts, the football team, the football equipment, and the students being active in building that with the contractors through the education or the classrooms, the construction management classes. And if there was any ARPA money to assist with that $95,000 cost. So this is something that we'll talk about on Tuesday night when we do our budget meeting.
This isn't the capital request that
Now,
was
this is the conversation that I had with the town manager. I'm just giving you an overview of what it is. You submitted the capital projects
Right,
before,
right.
right? So
So does this not align with that?
these are, well, the auditorium expenditure from, or the athletic storage was on that list. And we said, if it could come out of ARPA funds.
Right, and I thought Rhodes says no.
Well, they're gonna discuss that Tuesday night. With whatever monies are left, if that potentially could be, or if there's any money for that to be done.
So then
Because it-
why did we vote on a capital submission?
We put a number of things through, and we got 0 last year. So we put more money through this year, and Mr. Downs reached out and asked specific questions about these projects, specifically the auditorium and the,
So I
Jerome
understand
Harrison
this-
Gym.
So I understand the solar credits, right? Because we had that
right, so
discussion.
we've discussed that many times. So the auditorium
So the-
rental has over 12,000 in it right now, and we need a new sound system, which will be approximately about $12,000.
And he
So-
initiated that conversation, and he said, hey, we
He
got
called
this money,
me,
we
so
got.
in
okay.
conversation,
Yep.
he said to me, looking at capital and the number of capital projects that have come through in the town, this is what it looks like. So then John and I had the conversation about auditorium, Jerome Harrison, what would that look like? What would be the highest priority based upon the repairs that have been done and what the life of those projects, if nothing is done, could we get through until next year?
So did he ask
So-
you to prioritize them? Is that?
Just, yes, so just on really those two. And then the conversation went to other things that we'd like to do if there's other revenue for them, potentially. The rental money from the auditorium to upgrade the sound system, doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. The solar credits going back to the 25 account, if we have to offset and do some of these projects that we're talking about, down the line. That money would come back that we've already expended, you know, for our buildings on that.
So there
side of
was
town.
money sitting somewhere.
Yes,
Do you know how much those credits
it's probably over $230,000
that came from the solar panel?
from the solar panels that
Did we
we've
get to see
paid.
that at all?
We haven't seen any of it.
Okay.
How did
But when
you find
get
it?
So,
will we get to
so
see
it was our office with Anthony Esposito going through the solar company and, the electric company and backlogging and everything, getting all the details sent to them. And we just found out this past week that this is collectively what we're looking at. And now we're gonna work with the council on moving that money that we've spent back to
Right.
our side.
Where was it sitting that we couldn't find it?
They
last
have
time?
it,
Who's they?
the solar company and the power company.
They just kept it?
Yeah, they've been sitting on it.
So how do we avoid that?
Yeah, they've been going back and forth for months, and you'll have a chance to ask Anthony
Okay.
Tuesday night. Okay?
Okay, so.
So, that was the conversation, for those things. You know, if we're only gonna get potentially one capital thing, what would it be? The Jerome,
That's what he asked.
The large areas are critical, because they're used every day by our students. So, the other piece was the paving. I know that we've talked about that. We just got a quote from Tilcon, and John, you can speak to this, which is, it's kind of astronomical. They priced out Jerome Harrison, an additional front lot, and then TVS to remove and replace. And
I'll give you an update on the paving.
Yeah.
The Public Works Director, or Assistant Public Works Director, and I met at both schools with a representative from Tilcon. That was by a suggestion of the Public Works Director, just to get some numbers out there going to compare. Tilcon, of course, that's not their forte, little parking lots, they'd rather do roads and highways and stuff like that, so. But we just want to find out what it was. So Tilcon's estimate for Jerome Harrison was $396,000 and change. And Totucket Valley was $298,000 and change. So Public Works Director knew the numbers were gonna come in high. So we now have decided that we're gonna get quotes from the smaller vendors. Now, you know, private contractors, parking lots are their thing. We, in some conversations, we're waiting for the bids to come in right now, but in conversations with these vendors, matching them with the Tilcon prices, It looks like the vendors are coming in about $100,000 less at Totucket Valley and coming in about $150,000 less at Jerome Harrison. That's what it looks like right now. This is verbal to the outside vendors who are gonna be supplying us their quotes this coming week. These are walkthroughs with the private vendors. So we'll present those numbers to the town. I know the town has some money in for paving. When we have those numbers, the town will have to decide if they want to do the paving, if they want to wait and get more money in the account, if they want to do one and not the other. After walking both schools initially 2 years ago, the public works director and I thought patching areas that were bad would be. Now Fran Marola says absolutely not, that both parking lots are broken up everywhere, there's no use patching. So Jerome Harrison is over 25 years old now, that's the original paving. Totucket Valley has been done once in the front, the main area,
Right.
but the gymnasium side was never done again, that's original paving, that's been dug up 10 times for sewers, the septic, the tree removal, light posts, so both of them are just, they're shot.
How does that work then, if we voted already for a number and it's excess of the quote received in the future? Does anybody know?
If the town put in a number and it's in excess,
No, I mean, so we voted last month for capital projects at X.
And now it's
Now
over.
we're X plus, it sounds like.
Yep.
How
Well,
does
they're gonna
that- how does
rebid
that
it
work?
privately,
Yeah.
the number will come down.
Yeah.
Whatever's sitting in the account now, the town would have to make the decision, do they want to increase
Right.
that to match that lowest bid for a private
All right.
vendor to do it?
I have another question. The capital request for the Jerome Harrison condensing and evaporating is not on our capital project funding.
That's the old one. You have the one from last year.
Right, but that didn't get done, did it?
No, we got nothing last year. It's on the new one. It's on the new, you don't have that new capital
That
request.
was last year's request.
This is last year's request?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then Martha said the same, that we got nothing out of last year's.
From that.
No, I know, but what is
So
our?
the new capital
Do you
request
have the
has it
new-
in there.
Oh, okay, that's,
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, me
And actually, because that's
seeing
why
the old one
when Mike
does nothing to help me
Downs-
compare this.
Yeah, when Mike Downs called, it was the new request that we had that you voted on and we
Thank
sent
you.
forward. So that's why. That's the,
Okay,
what was
so
on
I'm
the
wondering
old,
why you're showing me this,
because that was on the old one and what was submitted through capital the past year. So you'll see some similar things. And then there's the new one that you all voted on and had at the last meeting.
My question is, wouldn't we keep, for capital, wouldn't we, if it wasn't fixed somehow, wouldn't it go from year to year, right? Like,
Some of
wouldn't
them
have to
roll
say?
over, yeah.
And then, but if it wasn't fixed, how do they end up dropping off?
Well, like what? Give an example.
I don't know, I don't have
Well,
3
you
years
had it
to
in the last,
compare.
you had all of the
right?
capital in the last one that you voted on. So there's probably
what,
ones
Scott?
that didn't get fixed.
Do me a favor,
So-
humor me, next meeting, give me the last 3 capital budgets that we submitted and voted on. And then I'll be able
That's
to make
easy.
then I can make my point, because, right, I can't make my point without 3 different years. I need 3 different years to show what we voted on, and then I can make my point easier, because it'll be illustrated.
We can do that.
Yeah, easy request.
That's easy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send it to you tomorrow.
You don't even have to send it to me tomorrow, we can do it at the next board meeting, it's not urgent.
Okay. Any other questions for John on anything capital related?
Nope.
we're good.
No? Roofing, paving? Obviously, there was, TVS is not going to be used for camp this year.
Where's the camp gonna be?
It's gonna be at Jerome, because they're gonna be doing all these projects there, the refrigeration, freezer. The plan is for the gym floor, bathroom stalls will get done then, and those unit ventilators too.
That's
So
a really good idea, this school, like,
it's gonna be shut down.
it's
for
always
just-
like a highway in there in the
Well,
summer,
because
so
it's
it's good.
obviously, it's been a
Yeah.
camp for many years, and you just you're shifting, you can't, so now everything is
So
gonna be
camp
done.
and summer school will both be down at
Yeah,
Jerome
down
Harrison.
The right-hand side of the building at Jerome will be the summer camp with the gym and the cafeteria and the upstairs hallway. The whole left side will be our summer school, which we usually use, and then we're gonna have a security guard in the middle.
That's a
for the
great
full
idea.
day.
Yeah.
So we have security as well.
Too many projects going on at
Yeah,
Totucket this year.
get the kids out,
We
you
have
can't work
projects
when you
going on there.
can
We have the roofing job at the intermediate school. We couldn't shift it over there because we were gonna have equipment guys everywhere doing that job.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on this summer.
Yeah,
Big
that's
summer.
fun. Sounds like a good
Yeah.
plan.
Here's one more question, I guess, or
Sure.
comment, I guess, is, how, I mean, when we briefing on this 26th? No, sorry, when is it? When we go into the.
March
The
26th,
26th, right?
we're gonna present, and then April
Tuesday
2nd's the
night.
hearing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep,
How, for capital projects, are we presenting all of them?
they'll have the list, which they already have, it was
Right,
sent
we
down
sent
to
it
them.
over.
Yeah, so they have it.
We're gonna present all of them?
Right, so they're gonna go through, they know, or they'll have an idea basically of, you know, what they're willing, or if they are willing to provide, and then it'll go from there. It could be nothing, I mean.
Right,
so-
I guess the question then my question then is, it sounds like we have some quotes for all of them, but not all quotes?
As far as the paving,
As far as the capital improvement, like where quotes are.
as far as what the superintendent is asking for capital, he has the numbers. I already gave them the numbers. The only things we're waiting for is the paving.
Right.
The gym floor is different. We'll try and have that, but
That was
that's
the only TV
going to be an
insurance.
insurance issue.
Right,
We'll try and have some numbers by Tuesday. I'll push the flooring guys the best I can. There's a lot of work they have to do to investigate matching that wood. That's the holdup. The Totucket Valley Gym it surprised all these flooring contractors. It's actually a 5-quarter maple gym floor that is like unheard of being used. It's
In today's world.
because the flooring now is 3-quarter. So they need to match that up. They're looking into finding if
might
there's
get a whole new floor 'cause
5-quarter
they can't find it.
available. If not, they have to do a build-up to raise it up enough to make the 3-quarter. So there's a lot involved in them quoting this job. So they said, give us some time, so we have to give them a little time to get this done.
We wouldn't be able to vote on it
but
anyway.
the other capital things that went down are accurate, those are all, every.
Those are in, all the price, I called everything
All of those.
everything we had on capital, I contacted every vendor to make sure the quotes were up to date.
Right, if they approve something, then we have the number. that
Right.
Correlates to the cost.
They-
right?
John checked.
Good job.
Exactly.
We got quotes, not bids, so there could be
That's,
some variation, but we got.
that's close.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
the
definitely
it's
close.
just the gym floor, and then,
That's
it's not gonna be able to go through capital at this point anyway, because we
Right,
won't be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
vote it, but we're
Yeah.
waiting on the insurance, but everything else is
Fair enough.
okay.
All right? Good, all right, we're gonna move on. FRC, I have Anne Marie here, McCarthy, if she would come up. As soon as John vacates. Thanks, John. So I had sent you a while back, when the grant was secured and the monies. I'm gonna have just Anne Marie talk about what she functions on each year for what the state gave, how we got this $500,000, that process, and what she has done in spending the money. It has to be spent by June, correct? June 30th. So she'll go through that, and if there's any questions, we'll go from there.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. So as Scott said, the Family Resource Center, we are one of 57 FRCs within the state, and it's a 2-year grant that we get every year. This year, well, it started back last year, so to speak, last school year. We, part of our FRCs, we're part of an alliance, and our goal is to always advocate for more funds. Our typical grant money that we get is $100,000. I am going on my 21st year with North Branford in this role, and that money has never changed. So, as you can imagine, that is all that we get, and then we operate with our tuition-based programs, which is our preschool and our before and after school care programs that are at Totucket and Jerome Harrison. So those are all tuition-based, and we do our best each year we do increases to keep up, and staff, and just all the other expenses that go with that. So, with that said, we every year have a advocacy day at the Capitol. We just had it this past month, And like I said, our goal is to reach out to our legislators. We're very fortunate that we have Senator Christine Cohen and State Rep Vincent Candelore, who has always been supportive of our program and are great. I talked with them, they visited, they've come to see what we have here. And we had a really big push last year for advocacy and really reaching out to our legislators. And so I just always reach out and say, hey, we're having an advocacy day. Would love to see you and meet with you. And Senator Cohen reached out to me and she's like, so what's going on over there? And she was really, she really wanted to see improvements made. And she comes here. At this building is our Families in Training program, which is our family support program. We run learn and play groups that are led by my parent educator. And in addition to that, she does groups that are focused on preschool age, toddler age, baby age, and how we could support and teach, and not only teach the children, but also to the families about child development, what they need to look out for. And the parent educator's role is then to look to see, are these children developmental? Are they doing what they should be doing? And we have tools in place to help our parents to educate them about development. And we work very closely with Jerome Harrison, with Colleen and the staff there to say, hey, we have these, we see this child, you know, can you take a look? And we do that as a referral. Referral is a very important part of the Family Resource Center. You know, the history of it is to really make sure the children before entering kindergarten are ready to learn. And with our program and with what we can provide for them here, we're making sure they're getting services that they need and we're referring out where we need to. So, Senator Cohen has visited here, and when our grant was coming through last June, I got a phone call from Senator Cohen, and she was like, you know, I want to give North Branford $500,000. So, you know, I was expecting $20,000. That was kind of like the state, that was like our ask, really, of all the Connecticut FRCs was, you know, we get $100,000, you know, $20,000 would be great. So when she came forward with this, I was, of course, very, very shocked and also too very grateful for that. So we have a state administrator that oversees our grant, and I worked with him, talked with him, and about spending the money. And with our programs here, you know, everything that we have here, we have inherited. I have never gotten anything, there's been never really new furniture. Our playground is donated. Most of those is the little tyke stuff that families have been great in donating. All supplementals that we get with the number 4 after school care program come from parent donations. We really just always operated on a very limited budget. So with this money, I'm you know, like, okay. And I was talking with administrators, with Carter, and really wanting to align our preschool here with Jerome Harrison. And when I say that, I'm really looking at our curriculum. We have been always doing the same, we work using the same type of curriculum, supplemental, everything that the state is asking us to do when following the Connecticut ELDS and the assessment through the docs. So we've been doing that right along. Now to be able to have brand new, you know, updated curriculum and technology will really push us in that right direction, and make sure that our kids here are really doing the same exact thing that they're doing at Jerome Harrison, and then transitioning into kindergarten will be that much easier for them. They'll be familiar with a smart board. We just got that, and you know, so that's huge. That's huge for us. So.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Do you have a budget to share with us of how you're spending the $500,000?
I do. I can tell you.
I couldn't tell if it was like in a handout in front of you.
Oh, I didn't prepare a handout. I didn't know I had to, but I did.
Is it the same as this one?
I mean, that's just a Reader's Digest version. I mean, I have what I presented to the state in my grant, which gives a little bit more detail. I can always just,
Are you following that as kind of your roadmap?
you know, it's my roadmap, but to be honest with you, this is all very new to me. So I am, when I presented my budget in my grant, I shot really high on many things. So now I'm, you know, things have been purchased and I'm going to have to need to reevaluate many things to see, because as Scott has said, I have to have the money spent by June 30th.
This June 30th.
So what we sent out to you and you had was just 6 items totaling approximately the $500,000. Obviously, the biggest one was the capital improvements for all FRC programs, preschool FIT, $200,000 for playground here, school age before and after program at Jerome, Harrison, and TDS, new furniture for the resource room at Jerome, a preschool program, furniture and technology, and a fit room improvement. So the biggest lion's share of that was for the playground here and on-site things in these classrooms. 40,000 was for preschool program supplies, new curriculum supplemental, which Emery spoke to. 45,000 for training and professional development, guest speakers, enrichment activities, programs for preschool and school age. 7,000 for support employee benefits of the program director, preschool head, and parent ed. And 96,000 comes out for the salaries, which Emery spoke to that she gets every year.
Every year, right.
So it's offset by a sliding scale tuition.
So and I think I'd like to see with just the grant money, I mean, because I think the rest is rolled in, is what was budgeted and what's actual, right? So you have your budgeted, you have your actual, and then you'll have your variance at the end of over, under, right? And then what would be really great, and you probably already did this in your request, is what were your goals? Like, you've got this money, you're spending it. Now, what do you hope to achieve now that you've spent it this way? What's the impact and how are you measuring it? That's gonna be the success, right? I mean, this is a little different because it's a one-time grant, right? And it's not impacting your staff and you're doing one-shot deals with it, like a playground, doing the curriculum. But it's really good to see like, hey, what does this new curriculum do for our kids? How are you measuring it? Is it elevating their learning? Are they more prepared? Because you know what, if it is, maybe that's something we're gonna have to keep pursuing, but it's hard to, it's hard to keep pushing if you don't have a measurable, a successful measurable, and you might wanna just put that in, and I bet you just wrote to some of those. So like, go look back at what you wrote and see if you can pull them out and then figure a way to track to them.
Do you want me to explain that? Is that
No, that was a statement.
The one that you have, not the Reader's Digest version.
Yes.
We'll just update and send it to the board and let them know what you've already purchased, what it's for, and then anything. A playground,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to measure if the kid climbs faster or higher, but other things with the curriculum and the programs you can put in working with Beth.
Well, she may be able
and
to tell
Clark.
energy level, more attention to tasks, because they'll be able to, you know, play
Or more energy.
How
Right,
many
but
incidents are there due to
I
injury?
think it would be more
There's-
towards the other
Yeah,
items.
curriculum is probably more.
Right, the biggest one. Okay.
The curriculum is a big thing, right? And especially if it's aligning. Technology curriculum, because it's aligning to the rest of the
Parent training.
schools. So, yeah.
PD with the other buildings as well, with Jerome, and they're looking to collaborate and do some PD together.
What age group are yours? Are what, 3 to 4? 3 and 4s for our preschool? Yeah, 3s, 4s, and those turning 5. Right.
Oh, yeah, the fires.
So I have a question. So the $500 grant you're going to put into this building only, even though there's other 2 buildings that have FRC?
No.
What?
So as I said.
I don't have the list in front of me.
I'm sorry. So as at both schools, both elementary schools, we do have before and after school care. So what I'm looking to do there is really focus on activities to be brought in for the kids, focusing on STEM. I've been sending my coordinator to PD that she's been going to regularly to really bring things into the program. Would love to do, and these are things like I'm trying to get through the big chunk of, which was the playground project, but I want to now focus on what we can bring into the school age in terms of like guest speakers, what can we provide for these kids, you know? This month of March, we've had like, all half days in a row.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was- And that's a long day. That's a long day for the children. So, my coordinator and I, each Wednesday this month had, fun enrichment activity. We brought in guest speakers to do that. So I'm really gonna focus that. And, I'm still going through that. I don't know if, I wrote down what I want to do, but the reality of it yet is we're still exploring ways to really bump that program up, literacy, STEM, that's all that, we want to be able to give those kids some extended time, but in a fun way, how can we enhance more of what they're doing in their classroom and bring that into an after-school care program? It's not easy, at the end of the day, the kids, they're done too. So, I'm trying to really focus on my staff, training them, get them into, to learn about more things that we could bring in to really make that time, not only fun, but, a learning time too. And most importantly, the social emotional piece is huge. It's, tough ages, especially at Tucket Valley.
Right.
Just a little bit more. So I like it, sounds very good, and I understand the curriculum and everything. But my concern is that you want to put $200,000 into a playground, and I've been retired 12 years, 13, going on 13. And I was there when they put that playground in and how hard they worked. And if it is an FRC building, why can't we take 100,000 for the playground, a starter, 100,000 over here? Because quite honestly, yes, this is a small group, but if you put something at Tucket Valley, you have 3 grade levels. How many classes in each grade level? 6, 5, 6. And the continuation of those coming from Jerome. A lot more kids are going to benefit from a newer and better playground here than here. Small number compared to how many will pass through Tucket Valley. And it was mentioned maybe some of the funds, like you do 100 here, 100 there. We have to do some fundraising more to get 150,000 was mentioned. I don't know. That's going by that. That we could get the playground sooner for both schools.
Well, I think the obvious question is we're along in this process. So to go back now and say, well, have you looked at playgrounds? Have you met with a company? Have you?
Well, yeah, just let me clarify too. All these numbers that I gave you, I wrote back before I did any really full conversations. I did guesstimated numbers and looking at playground equipment just through a catalog to get figures. In speaking with Martha to kind of guide me along with the whole budget process, and I had a timeline with the state that I had to get my grant in so that I can get mainly like my operating income for the staff, the top line item there. So I shot really high. I don't think, I can tell you right now, just a preschool playground alone, based on what I've been doing, is not going to be at a $200,000 mark. And Martha's like, Amory, get the numbers down and we could, make revisions along the way as we need to. So that's where I am right now. Everything is just still in the, pulling it all together. And
So
yeah,
you've looked at the company that did Jerome's.
yes, I'm using the company
Right, so you're
that
quoting
Jerome-
one that we worked with.
Yes.
You have a design.
Yep.
There's a product that they're going to price back to you. When do you think you're going to get that number?
I have a quote now from them.
Oh, so what is the playground quote?
So it's $82,000.
And then installation?
Installation, that includes everything right now, but they haven't gotten in there to really, give me, but that's what I'm going by.
And is there a service contract with that as well for,
It's all inclusive of the company.
of that? Okay.
And then the town is going to do, in my conversations with the town and with John Florio, they gave me a background as to based on what they did at Jerome Harrison. They've worked at this company before and kind of educated me on that part of it.
So what
So
you're
the
saying is there
site
may
work
be
is going to
money
be
for
a cost. John, you're nodding your head.
Yeah.
Site work will be,
So, those of you who don't know, that play area over there is nothing but asphalt.
Right.
Broken up.
Okay.
That, the entire, so if she has 82 for the playground, that's just the playground.
So are we thinking all in 100?
Yeah, probably, by the time we pave it, by the time we do fence work, by the time we do, the drainage work, there's a lot involved.
Yeah.
With prepping the playground, same thing with when we did the one in Jerome Harrison. There's a lot to do to get the playground.
So is it possible that you would be open to whatever the cost of the Jerome Harrison project, sounds like it'll be much less than the 200, to maybe, if you have some free extra money, to at least try to do some improvements to the TVS? If you can't replace it altogether, perhaps Joe and you could, work together to come up with some things that might work.
Totucket has a playground, they have 2 playgrounds on both sides.
Right.
They can do improvements and add additional pieces to it, but you wouldn't have to do a whole big excavation.
Well, I guess that's,
and everything like
yeah, that's what I'm asking. If you do have money left
to do
over,
improvements to those playgrounds.
could you be open to that? Because you do have students over there.
No, I
So,
understand, and I did
yeah.
communicate that to Mr. Amodio through a conversation that we had, that I'm still in this process and
Right.
don't have the final count as, and of course, like I said, I have to spend the money. And I am 100%, I love to collaborate with both principals at both schools and help out where we can. It's a one-shot deal, so,
Right.
It's a one-shot deal.
I'm on board to
Yeah.
really help where we can.
And you have a little, March, April, May, a little over 3 months to spend it.
Right, so you'll be able to tease
No
this out.
pressure, no
Well,
pressure, Emery, no pressure.
Oh, you need help, I'm good at spending money.
It's what you've already spent, and we can sit down and go through everything that's been spent on this list and what's remaining after completion of your playground here with the site work, and you'll have a much better idea.
Yes, correct.
And then we can just,
Sounds fair.
we'll
That sounds
come
fair.
back to,
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, my other question would be, all right, so to understand your operating budget, it's mostly the tuition that you get for here for before and after school, summer program, and then whatever grant you get?
The grant is just basically salaries of, partial salaries for preschool, full-time preschool staff, my parent educator, and myself. It's kind of how it's divided up. And then with the benefits. That's basically where if this was like a normal grant, it's $100,000. All the money is really displaced in those 2 line items.
Any of the BOE budget?
I'm sorry?
Does any of the BOE budget supplement or
Yes.
support the
The Board
FRC?
of Ed budget. The
Heating
Board of
and
Ed
cooling.
budget.
Oh,
Heating and
heating
cooling?
and cooling.
Yeah.
just all the in-kind services really is what
Right.
that's what.
Is there any money left in the account, where like the FRC account, like is it, you deplete it out every year, or is it, if we have 10 grand sitting there, is that?
We can't use it in the Board of Ed budget.
I understand
It's for
that.
FRC. I could ask Martha to go through and
It's probably
get you
more of a
that.
question.
Yeah,
I guess.
I can have her.
So like, once you collect all the tuitions from everybody and you pay all the salaries and all that, do you generally end up with no money, a little tiny bit of I money? will say, Pretty close. Over the past year, maybe past 2 years, we actually had a positive.
Positive is good.
Yeah. So I'm very happy about that, and I don't have an exact figure on that, but that would be a Martha question that I can get for you, and I don't.
Yeah, we'll send it with the other stuff.
All right, so,
Is it something we could put into like, every couple of months we get a FRC report? That might be.
That's a Martha
Yeah.
question.
We have to form, I'll ask her, email it.
Yeah.
I just have a question, a kind of a general question of how the grants work. Because I guess I'm a little surprised that we find out so late. That's just how it works. We don't find out that we're granted $500,000 until it's already been spent.
No, you were notified before. We put this out a while back that Anne Marie secured this.
Yeah, you were notified in
Yeah.
the fall about the
Yeah,
$500,000.
and it's,
But we don't decide how it's spent. They decide.
no,
how
it's
it's spent.
FRC. It's
Got it.
their,
So
right.
this has been a vote of contention on the board for a little while now, that the grants aren't necessarily coming through the board, and we're looking at it. That's why I specifically asked Emery, can I see a budget of what you budgeted to the actuals, to the variance, so we can see? Not because am being big brotherish, but I want to know, especially if someone's talking about a playground and there's two possibilities, like, I'm just curious, is there extra money? And you know what, if Emery says, no, there's not, look it, I can show you there's not, this is how I spent it, I can easily say, no, we did our due diligence, we saw there's nothing left. If there is money left, I'm gonna say, there was $100 grand, why didn't you spend it on the other? You know, I'm gonna push harder, so, you
I would
know.
never be able to like give that.
No, I know nothing will be given back, but it is our job to manage the budget. That is one of our primary functions, to evaluate the superintendent, to oversee policy, and to oversee the budget. Those are three major charges we do. And that, you know, and this is one of them, even though we don't get the grants regularly coming through. Still, this is a bigger one, and we wanna have some oversight.
Well, you
to
get the
it.
grant every
Yeah.
year. You get the 100,000 every year.
Yeah,
So
no, but
that's,
I'm
the-
just
that's the
saying,
one.
yeah.
This one time
This
that.
is special.
The one time that they
We'll
put
call
in.
it
So Anne
special.
Marie can tease that out,
Yep.
send it to you. She'll take care of everything on her list that she wanted for her programs. And then we'll have a number for if there's any left after, what she sounds like she's saying is that there could be extra money
That's what it sounds
after
like.
the purchase and the site work for potential other areas to go in the district that service FRC.
Okay. She also said that she's in the plus, that she has money left over. So my question is, she's running the before and after school, she's running the summer program. Would any of that money actually come back to the Board of Ed budget?
No, we don't touch that. It
Because-
stays in FRC.
But they're utilizing the Board of Ed buildings.
Yeah, but they can use it for FRC programs only. We can't hire teachers, we can't take that, and it has to be FRC specific. So,
I'm just
no,
to
no,
free
listen.
electricity or something.
Yeah, well, I don't think, when you see it, what profit was, I don't think you're gonna.
Sometimes those in-kind services are expected with that grant. Am I correct about that? In other words, that you'll provide a location.
Yeah, free of
and there won't be
charge,
that,
and
right.
heating and cooling, everything, right.
The only other recommendation I would make, Emery, because you're on a time crunch, is I would work in things in parallel. So if you have an idea of what one playground is and you have your curriculum purchased and you have whatever, if you think you're gonna have money for another larger project, I would start pulling John in or whoever in so that you don't run against the clock.
Oh, yes.
And it sounds like you've spoken to Mr. Amodio
Yep, it sounds
about
like you
this,
did.
and John's.
Look at
well
us
aware.
advocating for TVAS.
Anne Marie, can I ask, I know you said the smart board just went in, but have you implemented the other curriculum yet and new technology?
We have been using, it's the creative curriculum, and we've been using that for a few years now, 3 to 4 years. But what I did do is contract for the cloud, all the additionals. We only were using the paper, you know, and that was what we were going by, creating our lesson plans, and now we have this whole.
New world.
Yes.
Are you
yes.
seeing
Yeah,
a difference
that's nice.
with the
Huh?
students?
We're really we're really looking to go full blown with what it all has to offer next school year.
Okay.
Because we just literally got everything, and, my staff is learning, not that they're learning it, we know it, we've been using it. It's all those extra things that we can do, especially for assessments and, doing webinars and really kind of educating ourselves before we can really put it out there.
How many students do you take at preschool?
15, depending on sometimes the age. We get a lot of the young ones, so it's like 3 years old, but we try to keep it at 15. If I know I have a family that wants it, I'm always kind of like this. We'll never go above too much because it's a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
15, give or take 1 or 2. Got it.
I think you're out of the hot seat.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Anne Marie.
Anne Marie,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Me too. Anything with the town manager pending?
Who could that be? No. That was the handout through my conversation. I wanted to have you have all of that with explanation, so we can bypass that and go to the renovation project. I was fortunate enough to tour the high school twice in the last 3 days. because I'm trying to save paper. I have some photos on both sides.
Oh, good, are you gonna pass it around?
I'm gonna pass it around and ask you to move it so that everyone gets a
moving.
chance to see it while I walk through it. But the update on phase 2 of the project, the roofing is 75% complete and the roof is weather tight. As you drive by, you'll see plastic on the inside. The windows have started to go up in the northwest corner of the building behind the cafeteria. And that's exciting to see glass going in.
What kind of roof is going there?
Tin roof, hot tin roof, pitched, same as the other one. So the auditorium, the high school roof, currently in phase 1 and phase 2 will all match. And then they're going to match NBIS with a pitched roof as well.
Do you think we're gonna have to worry about any water issues in that building?
Always. It doesn't matter what you do. When John makes the statement that we've never had rain like this and people that never got water, there's gonna be time, and that we correct it, we go after it, we remediate it, and we move on. But certainly having pitched roof, now in the new part, we're way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game. And they're not gonna make the same drainage
That's pretty much
mistakes.
what I
No,
was leaning
no,
towards. Okay.
no. So we'll be good there. But that doesn't mean water can't get in.
Right, understood.
Exterior masonry is 30%. You'll see the lower half of the building, the brick is going up, probably around 60% of the building, and it's probably about 8 feet up in the air right now, so it's exciting to see. They'll have 3 crews. We've been doing a number of background checks, and we'll probably have upwards of 100 workers there per day over the next several weeks. Interiors coming along, the punch list is out, and the building committee has been talking about some of those things. Interior framing, the rough inspections are going on. They're drywalling, and they've actually started painting. We were in there, they were actually painting the other day, which is exciting. They are putting the rooftop units on. You'll see a crane from Northford, if you look down there, it's a massive crane. They're putting all the units up onto the roof now. They want to button the gym up first before they bring the wood floor in so that it doesn't warp.
Right.
So that will be sealed and done before they bring the wood in, and it'll be climate controlled, and then they'll start on that. And the glazing starts on March 18th. So the paint started March 18th and the glazing started as well. So the weather has been perfect for working other than the rain that we had, but we've had a good stretch and it looks like we can continue on how weather like that, they'll move at a pretty good clip. And once the windows go in and the roof is buttoned up, it's interior work, and that's when they really can.
Still on target for September?
Mid to late September, we're looking second to third week, and we had a 16 bullet page sent to Gilbane and to Rusty with 16 good reasons why we want to be in that school ASAP. And that's been a conversation that I know has been heard, and I know the building committee is
Great.
keeping the foot on the gas pedal. Yes.
The one discussion that was had was that in September, the gym might not be totally ready for that.
Volleyball?
Yeah, for volleyball, do the away games in September.
Yeah, we're front load away games in the beginning and then play the home games in the second half of the year.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yep. Gym is massive.
I'm not often speechless, but that gym.
For the record,
I saw it on the, it's a field house, like,
Have you been in
I
it?
really almost want to cry. I really almost want to cry.
when did you go in it?
I haven't been, I just saw
Just
the
the
pictures.
Oh, I thought you broke in.
It's more
When-
interesting
when-
when you go in.
I might break
listen,
in now.
I'll put it out to the board. If you would like a tour of the building, and I can do a few different times because I know your hours are crazy, let me know. I'll talk to Gilbane. We'll meet at the trailer, get the hard hats on and the vests
And
and
don't wear
glasses.
heels.
And we can go, and I'll take you through. Yeah, and I can accommodate hours, like I know everybody, Zach, I know
Thank you. I'd love
you
to
have
see
crazy hours, so we can get through it. We'd have to be, it can't be dark, obviously for insurance reasons when we go through it. I have to have a Gilbane person
Yep.
with me, so.
Well, the days are getting longer, so.
Yeah, no, you guys figure it out, and I'd love to show you.
It's a field
It's
house.
lighted up at 5.
Just-
What's
it's
that?
just
We just
amazing.
went at 5.
Yeah,
5:30.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
yeah, it's,
The only change there was that, was it the northern parking lot?
Yeah.
The quote came back way too high.
Right.
Stick with what we got.
Yeah, it's expensive, and that's the problem now, when you get into, you know, pricing, materials and things like that, it goes from here to here, which we saw in the paving from Tilcon, it's triple. All right, so,
Committees,
skip the renovation, and that's it for me.
committees, negotiations,
Well, we're just getting started with the Paris, so we're just trying to pinpoint some dates.
gotcha. All right. Budget and operations now. Did curriculum have a meeting?
Just this afternoon, or before this.
Anything of note that y'all want to share?
They were looking at you, I thought you guys were going to share.
I thought they were going to share,
No, but
but you
you-
seem to have your PowerPoint ready
Well,
to
you'll know
go.
if they're
You put
listening if
up
they
the
share.
PowerPoint again so that you can go in and check out the sites, which I have done.
The sites?
So basically, in that meeting, what I did is I highlighted again the district instructional vision for everybody, went into a little bit of detail of what that is, why we use it, and then we really spent a lot of time looking at some of the instructional approaches that we use across the district within that vision. So that's the making thinking visitor work, building thinking cultures, and building thinking classrooms. We dove into a little bit of the research, some of the books and texts that we're using, some of the articles, and then I was able to share with the subcommittee some of the professional learning examples, presentations that are happening across the district, building specific and admin-wise, as well as a lot of examples of student learning in those approaches within the classroom.
Do you have that PowerPoint? In a PowerPoint?
Okay, did you?
Will you send it to me?
I would do that. I thought you were gonna have to like show it now.
No. I can
We
read.
can,
I can
Tom's
read.
here.
No, I could read, but I'd like to do it at my leisure so I'm not like rushed and I can actually ingest the information.
I can do that, but you're only allowed 2 questions.
I'll make them count. How about I prioritize?
There'll be
my
3-part questions, 1 question, 3 parts, second one, 3.
I love it, he's got your number.
All right.
All right.
Carter, are you good?
I'm good.
There was no pension. Where are we with policy? I feel like
We've asked for revisions of anything that's critical from
Okay.
them, so I will reach out because we want to get going again and get our person down
Okay.
for anything current. So they were charged with looking at and reviewing and getting us lists.
They meaning the attorney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Beth, who else, is it just, who else is on policy? I'd have to go back.
Oh, are you in policy?
All right, so I'll reach out and then I'll connect with the 2 of you.
Okay, ACES?
There was a meeting, I did not make it. I had the orientation the day before. I thought the orientation was going to be the meeting. I didn't realize.
It was a double whammy.
Yeah, and after the orientation, I was informed, well, and it's not, they sent out an email. They told me in there that we were having a meeting the next day, so I am now on.
You're on the right cadence?
Yes.
Okay.
You're on the email list.
On the email list. I do have, and I don't know if now's time to bring it up, but I was in a committee with Carter for a wellness committee that I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something came up that I thought maybe we could talk about was the cafeteria, their budget,
Yeah, meaning the balances?
their balances due. Is that okay?
Go ahead.
So the food service director had come to, I think it was 2 meetings in a row now, and she said that there's many children that are going through and not paying for their food.
Yeah.
And so what happens at that time, she sends home a letter, she tries calling, and I believe she even sends a form for the free food to home, so that they could fill out, the option to fill out and get back. But nothing is being done, she can't reach anybody, and the same children are coming through, and they have their plates of food and go through, and now when they go to pay, they've already been breathing on it, so they can't say, okay, we're gonna.
No food for you?
Right, or either that or it's like, no food for you, right?
Well-
So you're punishing the children.
Is this at all levels?
Yeah, so
I was gonna ask you
there's a $6,000 total for staff and students throughout the district for all of the buildings. So a high student may have $150, and what happens a lot of times is parents don't put in for the free and reduced lunch because it's hard for them to do, and we never want to say no. I've assured everyone that we will cover the costs and we will work diligently to get parents to be able to work with us to get the monies back. We have our greeters calling people confidentially to say, hey, listen, you know, that Johnny's got a little, we're trying to be really sensitive, but there's a number of cases where, you know, the kids just aren't able to. We're not gonna shut down because of it. We're concerned about it, but we're sympathetic to a lot of circumstances in the district. So it will be taken care of.
So what does that mean? Like when you say, I don't mean to ask a question, I just don't know.
Yeah.
That means like when we say we're taking care of it, that means it comes out of our budget? Where does it go?
So
And how-
over the
how
next
does
few
that-
months,
how does that-
we'll continue to notify parents. And, you know, there's things you can do with, not so much punishment, but that, you know, you have class dues, you have this, that, and you have to make good on this. Just like if you don't turn into a history book. You owe us the history book, you gotta do it because you want to walk your graduation. But it's food.
There's consequences.
So, but it's food, and I'm well aware of it. I've looked at every list of every school and every family, and I know exactly where we're at with it, and we are on top of it.
Oh.
And it's not a crisis.
She's at every meeting.
Yeah, no.
And she's kind of like,
No, but
we don't have any.
You know what,
Listen,
because she wants to make her, she
wants
wants a
to-
good budget too, right?
Right.
She's working hard.
Right.
She's working hard.
She's done
And she's
amazing.
trying to prove, she's trying to
Which is why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no, it's
Because, like,
good.
if there's,
But I know through past history, there are probably a bunch on there that would qualify for free and
Yeah.
reduced lunch, but they just
No.
don't really want to do the paperwork.
We'll dwindle it
Well, I don't
down
want
as
to refuse
best we
any kid
can,
lunch.
and then we'll take care of it.
No, how hard
But is it something, a consequence like earlier in the year so it doesn't get to the end of the
We
year?
start right from the get-go. We evaluate, every time they swipe their card, we have a running for every building through Power School of who owes what. So when you have rounded to 500 students and 100 and something staff members, some staff owe $10 and come in and write a check and throw it in. So to get up to that $6,000 with 500 students, I mean, it's pretty easy to do. So it's not catastrophic, but it's something that, you know, we're aware of, and we want to be sensitive and give, you know, families methods to pay back without embarrassing anyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I was just
Yeah,
wondering how.
no, and the good news is the cafeterias have been off the charts with freshness, opportunities, selection. We're really, and she takes it very personally, which she should, because that's her job. She was, you know, brought in here to turn it, and she's done an amazing job. And I had very good conversations about, we got it, we're gonna get it, don't worry about it.
I have a quick question. I know that we go through school bucks now, which is super easy to use. But at the end of the year, if you have money on school bucks and you're not going to use your school bucks anymore because you're no longer in the school district, I'm assuming it goes to you guys. School bucks doesn't keep it, right?
I have to ask her how it washes back out.
Because I remember one year I'm like, hey, I have like $23 on there. How do I get my $23 back? And it was like a small act of God. I'm like, you could keep my $23.
Right.
Right? Like, so I'm going to guess that a lot of people just do that because
I can ask her
you know,
what
I'm just curious as how that plays in. I don't think it's any big feat of money, but it's something.
For seniors, you mean? Because
Yeah,
normally
for
it would roll over.
seniors,
okay.
but for seniors or anyone who leaves the district, I'm gonna guess like 8th grade is a big point where kids leave and probably have school buck money. Seniors are big, you know, I don't think it's a boatload of money, but.
No, but I
it's-
can ask her.
Yeah, I'm
what
just
happens
curious as to, all right. And what's next? Communication meeting, no. New business.
I have something. So, I have papers for everybody. Like to propose a real estate panel. That should be enough. I have more, but I think I didn't count. For the, potentially, my thought was anyway, to have it posted at the high school. For high school kids, I was thinking seniors and their parents. And with the idea of having a panel full of, you know, real estate professionals to answer questions for their next steps in life. So, for instance, it would be, you know, myself as a real estate professional, real estate side, an attorney, real estate attorney, a mortgage lender, a CPA, you know, a tax expert, and to talk about renting versus buying and a legal consultation and finance planning and tax implications and to provide a, clear explanation of what's going on in the NAR settlement, if anybody knows or is watching what's going on. But I thought maybe it would help parents and kids to know, so whether they're going on to, schooling or they're, whatever their path may take them, they're going to come, if they're either going into a dorm, going into rented apartment, they're going to stay at home, and whatever that case is, there is something there, and I know I wish I had the information,
Sure.
knowing that, there's opportunities out there, even for parents if they wanted to purchase something in New Hampshire or wherever their child is going to school, and in another location, and put their kid in there, there's tax write-offs they could get, and then, investment opportunities where they could rent out to other kids for the years and have it, just to kind of educate kids on their next steps, was my thought.
The creative way to do it, because you are in the real estate business, if you did come in and do that, every other realtor would say, well, why can't I? Would be to go through the business department, because it would be like any of you that, I don't, for example, of what you do, you can set yourself up for something that could be a problem, which you don't, I know you don't want to do that. So I can have Mr. Steffler talk to Mr. Herson, the business teacher, and that would be a venue, or women in leadership to possibly come in and be a speaker at our conference and talk about your profession, your field, what you do, and start that way through the curriculum and through that process. But we have to be very careful about a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not a great idea. I mean, the finance piece, what kids need to know that we never were taught, we just have to be protective of you and, because anyone else could come in, hey, listen, 9 realtors now, hey, Ms. Dawson wanted to do it, I want to do the same thing, why didn't I get a chance?
Well, collectively, I mean, honestly, the more the merrier, I think that.
Well, we have to manage. Right, so you would work with Mr. Steffler, with the business office and Ms. Lee, and they would come up with a way that, would.
So how do I go from here?
I'll give him the handout, and you can talk to him after the meeting.
Okay.
Give him your cell phone, and he'll reach out to you.
Excellent, thank you.
All right?
Perfect. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Any more visitors and press? You again?
Well, I just want to clarify when you were talking on your budget and in the workshop for next week. So just so you know where the town is, we do not have the complete budget yet, so we have no idea how everyone's budget relates to the whole. So at the workshop on Tuesday night, there will be no decisions on capital projects.
Oh, right, of course.
Nothing like that, because we don't even have what the mill rate increase is or what it looks like at this point in time.
We have to have the hearing first anyways.
So Tuesday night is basically just an overview of your budget, top points, and then kind of a question and answer period from there on that. So we won't be able to do anything. We can discuss the capital projects and stuff like that, but we definitely won't be able to make any decisions on those.
Right. Understood.
So, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Good of the board?
I have a couple, I'm sorry, you want to go first?
Well, I just came from a luau at Jerome Harrison. That was fantastic. We had a great time limboing with a bunch of elementary kids, and they had a blast. I also had a pasta dinner at Totucket a couple weeks ago for the 5th grade class. They raised funds for their end of year event.
Oh, do they still do that dinner?
Fantastic. Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
I love it. Was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then I saw James and the Giant Peach at the auditorium from the middle school, which was incredible. Like, it was so well done. The kids were fantastic. The scenery was fantastic. And also at Jerome tonight for the dance, in lieu of payments, like for a ticket, they collected food for the pantry. And that your hallway is full. Like, these families were so generous for their neighbors. It was incredible to see. So I've had a lot of fun in our district these past couple weeks. So thank you for all you're doing for us to see and for the kids to do.
And same for me. March has been a busy month, so I wanted to acknowledge Beth Harker and Jerome Harrison School for their 14th annual Read Across America Day.
Yep.
This
favorite thing to do.
Yeah, this year they celebrated reading with a fairy tale theme, so everyone was costumed and came, and I really loved being able to come back and work in the STEM room with Gruff Construction, 3 Billy Goats Gruff Construction. So that was fun. And Joe Modio Invention Convention, excellent day. It was amazing. I couldn't believe some of the ideas that the students came up with, and their ability to present at that age is something that I was never able to do. So I'm really thrilled about that, and I thank you for allowing me to come and be a judge that day. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you got to judge?
I got to judge.
Nice.
Here comes the
Here
judge.
comes the judge.
And I too wanted to mention James and the Giant Peach, because Carter, if you could, you know, Pat, I know that I've already emailed you, but it was amazing. It was so enjoyable. There were so many participants, and I think that's what I loved the most. Not only the actors and the actresses up on stage, but the stage crew and the ushers out front, and, you know, seeing some of my former students was just always amazing.
And the teacher, the director, Sharon Monet, does an amazing.
Yes, and Jackie Giamatti.
They do an amazing job.
I never say it right, yeah. And the collaboration with the high school, the assistant directors coming down, and it was just, everything was just, it was really good. So it was a great month for North Branford, I think, so, thank you.
And I really enjoyed Read Across America as well. I really did. It's one of my favorite events. The kids were so cute. They were so cute, and they sat so well, and boy, Mrs. Sermola certainly takes charge of that library.
I didn't wear a dress.
It was, I
I was the
read right
giant.
after you. You were the giant. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. The hallways are so much fun. This year was extra special for me. My daughter was there and my mother was there. And it will be the last year that my daughter will be there and the last year that I will be there. So it was bittersweet, but it was really fantastic.
I tried using that noisemaker term on my husband. Didn't work. Mrs. Sermola gets them to turn their noisemakers off. I tried that, didn't work, I'm just saying.
It was good. And I've seen many a sports game this last month, and they were all fantastic.
We had a great
Our athletes
winter.
worked really hard. Our hockey team did phenomenal. Our basketball team, girls basketball did phenomenal, and we're all in spring sports now, and so it's nice to see, like,
Indoor track, fencing, all
all
qualified, all of them did
We had
amazing.
so many all-conference athletes. You go by that sign, and every time you drive by, it's a different kid, and it's
Yeah.
just so
How did Aiden
fantastic.
do at Nationals?
Did he?
Did he go yet?
I don't think New England's,
his
he
dad
did
posted.
very well, I know, New England's. Well, next one, when he comes to, we'll pin him down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he's in a different season now.
But we're, you know, I always say it, when you look at the size of our high school for 473 students, and the fact that we were playing independent sports without co-oping, I don't think people understand. We are the second smallest high school that does not co-op for football or hockey in the state of Connecticut. Derby is the only other town that doesn't co-op.
Wow.
That's smaller than us for football. And that speaks volumes to, I think, our feeder programs and, you know, getting kids invested and out there. We're going to continue to try to do that. But it's special. It really is, for a small town with big spirit. And the kids do amazing, so.
People want to
And
come
they
to North
compete with
Branford.
much bigger schools, much bigger schools. When you look at hockey with who we play, and even in the tournament with girls basketball with who we play, those are bigger schools, and they go by win-loss percentages where you line up that next year. And it's incredible that we're able to not only compete, but succeed. So that's my...
All right, the next regular Board of Education meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Don't forget, we have budget on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
And it's at the cafeteria,
At the
right?
high school.
The high school,
High school.
cafeteria at the high school.
And the following Tuesday.
And then April 2nd is the presentation to the public. And that's all I have to say on that. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're good. All in favor? Aye.
That's right.